like as I was saying before we started going live, man, I kind of missed that little theme, man. Kind of missed that little film panel theme. Not
Those,
gonna lie.
those are the golden, the good old days back before you know, before
Oh, man.
the dark times.
But welcome everybody to the Hap Film Panel again tonight. We have another scary movie review for you guys. As you guys know, it's October, so Jake and I had to kind of dust off the little horror movie talk a little bit and bring it back here in October. As you already know, Jake, how does it feel to get? How does it feel to be back, man?
It always feels great because I think this is one of my most favorite things to do is not just to talk about movies, but talk about horror. I feel a very and me kind of grew up in that sort of 2000s era of staying up late on a Friday night and watching whatever horror movies they're playing on like AMC, and then just and Halloween, was one of those movies that they always rotated, and so it's one of my favorite things we do. I would, and I still wish we had those other two clowns that used to, you know, do it with us. But who needs them? They don't appreciate Halloween 4.
I will say this, man. As you guys already know, I love talking movies, especially movies that I like. Nowadays, it's really hard. That's why I use. That's why I have the videos, the kind of videos that I have. That's why I have the kind of topics that I have and stuff like that. Because the shit needs to be talked about. Because we need more movies like the movie we're talking about tonight, Halloween 4. We need more shows like the shows that we always talk about. We need more good entertainment. Then maybe we won't let you complain about the current shit that's going on. We'll actually have good stuff to talk about. We could dive deeper into that stuff. But when you have shows that don't have any depth, movies that have no depth to it, then we're gonna go back and we're gonna start talking about the older shit, and we're gonna continue to shit on the new shit.
Right.
That's what I'll say about that. But man, it feels good to be back here on the panel talking about another horror movie. This is my personal favorite Halloween movie. Not even just like Halloween movie of the franchise. I'd say my probably is this my favorite horror movie of all time? That's debatable. That's debatable. I've got a few. I will say this, um, and I've been quoted saying this before on this channel before, so it's nothing new to the OGs on this channel. Day
Yeah.
ones. I'll say this though, Halloween 4 is the one movie that is a guarantee, at least to me, a guaranteed A+ when it comes to an actual horror movie and what a horror movie needs to be. So if you want pretty much horror movie 101, you got to go to Halloween 4. You got the jump scares, you got the scenery, the cinematography, I guess you could say. Um, you've got the character development. You've got pretty much the passing of the torch, at the end of the movie as well. It's like which also we talked about with the last movie about the whole cliffhanger thing, that whole debacle. But I look, as you guys know, this isn't a movie review necessarily. It's just more of a movie discussion. Every other YouTuber on earth, especially in the month of October, is going to be reviewing movies like this. So what Jake and I do, we get on here, we just talk about the movie, we have a discussion about it. As we already know, leads to other discussions about the horror movie genre and the movie genre in general. So, um, yeah, man. I mean, let's go ahead and get into this though. Like you already know how I feel about the movie. Like this is to me, this is horror movie 101. If you've never seen a horror movie before, I had an ex girlfriend before and we were dating, and she never seen a horror movie. I think the only scary movie she ever saw was like the very first Exorcist, and ever since then she was like, I've just stayed away from horror movies and blah blah blah. I was like, oh well, boy, do I have a movie for you. I could have gone with that movie, You're Next, or that came out I think about 10 years ago. One of my other personal favorite movies, but or I could have gone with Friday the 13th, something like that. No. I said, you know what? Halloween 4 is a movie that it's scary enough to where you're not gonna have nightmares. Um, yeah, it's scary enough to where you're not gonna have nightmares, but it's also, or I guess not scary enough to where you're not gonna have, but it's also scary enough for you to say, yo, that's a damn good jump scare that it gave me, you know. Or when you see Michael Myers, in the back, in the shadows, in between the doors, the crease of the door, when Loomis and everybody's on the phone, is like I'm telling you, man, John Carpenter didn't do this movie. I forget who the actual director of this movie is, but holy shit! To me, this is horror movie 101. Like, you want a good horror movie? Halloween 4 is it's a no brainer.
I think it's one of the more favorite movies of the hardcore fans, you know, like you and me, because it had a lot of heart in it. You know, I mean, it seemed like there was some really young, hungry talent that wanted to, you know, kind of carry the ball and take the franchise into something new territory, and just short, long review, discussion short. Well done, just well done, bravo, because to make a movie that I love as much as the original one is not done too often in the horror genre. But I truly do love this movie. Like, and I really think that's the correct word to say. Like, I love this movie because it's nostalgic. I love the story that it tells, and just the amount, just how I would even go as far to say it was funner. It was a more fun movie than
Yeah,
the original. I mean, you get everything your money, you paid for. You get to see Michael Myers being a badass. Um, you get to see some good characters. I think probably my favorite character outside of Michael in the franchise, it ain't Laurie, it's Jamie. This, I just always thought she was like, well, as a kid, I identified with her more. Like, that's the scariest idea I could think of, being chased by Michael Myers and you're just a little kid.
hmm
But also, well, like I'd say she'd be number three. Number two's got to be Loomis, because his story arc in this was just so phenomenal. Like, I just love like how it kind of he's still trying to warn people. He's still doing
I wish they dove deep more into Loomis though, man.
mm,
I really wish they, like, just the franchise in general. I don't mean like Halloween 4 necessarily.
yeah.
Um,
In general, yeah. It seemed like there was you know Loomis's character. It seemed a little. I mean, and then I guess you definitely want to leave him wanting more. But I agree. It's like you could have had even more of his character development. Show us more of what he's doing. Just in the background, or just. But then again, I also felt like we were underwhelmed with the sequels, because it felt like four was setting up kind of like this big kind of. It was setting up more. You know
mhm.
what I mean? The only man who understands this monster, and he's the only man who could really really kill him, or at least do something. And but I will say this: four, as far as that goes, I definitely felt that like he was sorely underused in five, and he really just wasn't used very well in six either. Curse of Michael Myers. I'm very happy with how much he was used in four, because there's a lot of good moments where, like, remember the scene where he got to ride with that one, like, this holy man, and they was just riding together talking. Like, that's a scene not a lot of people talk about.
Oh, you
It's
mean
like,
I might be able to show it. I might be able to show it.
I'll be able to show it. Look, there it is.
End of the world, Armageddon. It's always got a face and a name.
Can you hear that, by the way? Can you hear that a little bit?
Yeah, I got it. I
Okay.
got it.
I've been hunting the bastard for 30 years, give or take. Come close a time or two. Too damn close. You can't kill damnation, mister. It don't die like a man dies.
I know that, Mr. Sayers.
Oh, you're a pilgrim, all right. I saw it on your face back there in the dust. I saw it clear as Preston.
Yo, I gotta say, yo, what a wild fucking sign! Like back in the day, they got away with a lot. I believe the Bible. Like, was that a real sticker back in the
Yeah,
day?
I was just thinking that too. Like, okay, I believe the Bible.
I believe the Bible. I'm like, that's a like a broad like type of sticker. Like, I don't know. That's a weird sticker. Like, I mean, it's easy to say out loud, but when you see it, like the actual words, "I believe the Bible," it's like that's weird. Okay,
It's not even like believe in where it's like faith. It's just like
yeah.
I believe it. Just 100% fact.
Suede shoes. Would you like a drink? Yes, we'll gather at the river, the beautiful, beautiful river. Gather with the saints at the.
R.I.P. Donald Pleasance, man. I also have to say, man, it very rarely did you ever get to see Donald Pleasance smile as Dr. Loomis, but whenever he did smile, man, even when he's got like that cheesy, that really cringe smile, which one? That was what
Yeah,
Halloween 2.
yeah.
I think it was when he had that real weird, like cringy smile that got memed for years.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I said, R.I.P. Donald Pleasance, man. Dude was a fucking treasure, bro.
He
Definitely a
was.
fucking treasure. And definitely got robbed in Halloween 5. I gotta say.
Agreed. Well, every time he was on screen, he was great, but just needed more. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Just, I felt like, yeah. And that was such a great scene too, because it's like Cinemassacre, like James Roll pointed out that, like, he's listening to this preacher. He's like, and he's relating to it, like, yeah, I guess I'm on kind of a holy kind of crusade too to try and stop evil, basically. I'm chasing my own devil.
I kind of feel you on the whole, diving deeper in Loomis thing because you got to think what is his real drive? I mean, Rob Zombie Halloween kind of dove into it a little bit, and credit to Rob Zombie. And there's not a lot of credit that I get to Rob Zombie with those Halloween, especially Halloween 2. But credit to Rob Zombie for at least diving deep into Dr. Loomis and keeping Dr. Loomis as not only a main character in the Halloween franchise, even though he only did 2, but for making Dr. Loomis like one of the vital characters in that first Halloween movie. So credit to Rob Zombie on that one.
It was
You
very,
say something?
yeah, because like you put your finger on it, because Rob wanted to kind of go into what's said. I mean, in the original movie, it's a little more subtle, but it's almost very literal in his remake. But pretty much, Loomis was the closest thing to a father that Michael ever had.
Yeah.
Cared about him. Try, like, because you don't spend 15 years trying to reach somebody and then suddenly deciding that, I got to keep him locked away, like really getting to know him, and then it's like, because eventually that's what Loomis, realizes, there is no bringing this kid back. He is pure evil.
Mm-hmm.
And he felt like it was his responsibility, just because like he watched the kid grow up. Michael grew up, and then in the remake, and I could definitely see talking about the remakes one day too. I would like to. I actually had a lot to say about those, but
the first one I love dearly. The second one I hate a lot.
Yeah, it was such a. It really was not that. It just fell apart. Like it was a really good remake. It really was the first remake he did. Like
it was the first time we got to dive deep into Michael Myers.
Yeah, well, it was he did the movie he wanted to make, and that's why I put it above all the other remakes at that time, because it was passionate. It was original, and by all means, that was one of the most badass Michael Myers ever. I mean, just God, just like 7 feet tall on that one. And he's just manhandling people, and he wasn't even supernatural in that situation. He was just demonic.
Yeah. Facts. Gotta say what's up on day one, man. Jaron, what's up, man? Say what's up, fellas. You
What's
know,
up, John?
doing a Halloween 4 review, reviewing one of the greatest Halloween movies of all time.
One of them.
Jake, I gotta ask you, man. I was thinking about this. I put this down here in my notes too when I was watching the movie a few days ago, and I saw that what really kind of made me realize in this opening scene is that let me share it. Oh, sorry guys. What really kind of got me thinking about this scene when I was watching it is you see the opening scene of Halloween 4. There's also, I mean, you look at Halloween 2.
Serious
So I
questions
think I
tonight.
moved too far ahead.
Transfer.
But Halloween
Time.
2 takes place in a hospital.
Yeah.
Do you think that going back to, let's say, Rob Zombie's Halloween, you could probably make an argument for Halloween Resurrection as well? But with actually, I'll use both of them: Halloween Resurrection and Halloween 2, H2 of Rob Zombies. Do you think that those were influenced by Halloween 4? Because you're looking opening scene in a hospital. Those two movies opening scenes in hospitals. One is a mental hospital in Resurrection, and the other one is an actual hospital in H2.
And not to mention, there was wasn't it a hospital and Kills as well? A lot of time in a hospital.
Yeah. Except, I mean, look, you know how I feel about this that new reboot trilogy.
Yeah.
That whole David Gordon Green trilogy. And might I say, it's funny how nobody's talking about that new Exorcist remake that came out that David Gordon Green was also ahead of.
I bet he wishes we could all. He's hoping that we don't talk about it. He's hoping we all just try to forget about it.
He better hope I don't go see that movie because I'll trash that shit too. But yeah, I feel like there's a lot of hospital scenes that have been influenced. I mean, one could say yes. Again, Halloween 2, the entire movie was spent in a hospital. Halloween Kills, I mean, that probably influenced Halloween Kills for that one. But it's weird how you got opening scene in this one, then you got opening scene in Resurrections and opening scene in H2. I'm like, Michael Myers is spending a hefty amount of time in these hospitals, man.
Yeah. I mean, it's something that I think is just kind of almost tradition at this point. You got to have a little time at the hospitals, and yeah, that repeats a lot. In fact, but I think only the second movie is the one that spent almost like really most of the time in the hospital. And well, that was the thing I felt like was originally just kind of I don't know. In the original Halloween, it was about the neighborhood, and then there was the two house, the Myers house, and then it was sort of about Laurie, just kind of how Michael's kind of trying to get at her, in this area, and then the hospital it put Michael kind of just kind of worming his way through there, slowly killing everybody until he narrows Laurie down again. And in Resurrection, that's what happened in the beginning at the asylum. In fact, I think the worst mistake they made in Resurrection was not having the whole movie take place in that asylum. That would have been more interesting. It's worth a think. It's worth a think.
You don't fear a bad idea. You don't fear a bad idea with that one. I mean, because I think about that opening scene in Resurrection, I'm like, that was scary. Because I don't know. I'm sure I've already told you a million times. Like, that's the very first time I ever saw Michael Myers in my life was when my mom and it was like a Sunday, a random ass Sunday, and Halloween Resurrection just came out. I knew nothing about horror movies too much. I knew nothing about the Halloween franchise. Went and saw Resurrection, and that opening scene had me shook. I know we're talking about Halloween 4, but y'all know how we do, man. That's why I say we're just doing it.
Exactly.
You know what? We'll get back to that. We'll get back to that because
We'll get back to it.
you put so many thoughts, so many possibilities in my head after saying resurrections could have been taking place in the entire movie in that mental hospital. That's crazy.
It's an interesting thing, man. I thought a lot about it too, and you know, yeah, we'll expound more upon that because I had some cool ideas about that. I'd like to share too.
Now, when we talk about Halloween 4, we're talking about Jamie, who's played by Daniel Harris. We're no longer talking about Jamie Lee Curtis, her character Laurie Strode. Look, I don't know all the behind the scenes stuff. I wasn't really privy to all the behind the scenes stuff until I became an adult, and I did a little bit more digging. But I still don't even know. Probably I don't even know half of the reason why Jamie Lee Curtis wasn't in this movie, why she wasn't even a part of this franchise until H2O. I've got no fucking idea. I don't really care too much.
Yeah.
But we have a new face of the franchise. It's Danielle Harris. It's Old Floyd. How did you feel about? Again, we're only talking about our view from watching recently. But how did you feel about watching this movie and seeing just at least how much of a star Danielle Harris was as Jamie? Because she stole the movie. It's not like you're sitting there and in some of these movies they have nowadays, right? Where they're like, "Oh, why is this kid being so annoying? Somebody fucking kill off the teenagers or whatever." Like this is a legit like child star, but still like growing into the role of Jamie Lloyd, which we find it 2 years later kill her off. But still, in our heads watching this movie, we're like, "Yo, this is a star. This is a mainstay for years to come in this franchise." Like, this right here. I mean, granted, Danielle Harris didn't go on to be some megastar, but I'd still say she's a movie star.
She should have.
She's at least a screen queen. I mean, that's that's a lot in its own right, to be honest.
I think she really is deserves so much more credit for what she, as a child, she was able to do in this movie because there's times she seems genuinely terrified. I mean, and I think in horror movies, like kids, they can be hit or miss.
Mm-hmm.
You don't really hear a whole lot about the best performances. When it comes to kids in horror movies, it's always some Oscar bait crap. Haley Joel Osment or Dakota Fanning, and I think, but most I don't know. It's kind of like the kid from The Shining. He deserves a lot more credit because he was creepy as hell. Just what he was able to do. In this scenario, I really hold Danielle Harris's performance in very high regard in comparison to all the other child acting performances I've seen because, I mean, she wasn't, because it wasn't just her being scared. It was her being just, she was, grieving her mother. She was, oh, dude, and then the hell they put her through in the fifth movie. And that's the only reason. Oh, God, this poor kid. I mean, she carried that movie, to be honest. She really carried that movie, And
I didn't like the creative choices from 5 though. I hated it. Like them making her with not being able to talk, and then
there was so much wrong with that. And then not least until the final I think bit, which has actually I think one of the most touching scenes, when she was laying in the coffin and she calls Michael uncle, and then he's just it meant you remember that?
I've seen 6 once.
Yeah. Oh no, I think you're talking about 6.
Oh no, my bad. I thought you were talking about 6.
No, I gotta do it. The only real thing I can say nice about 6 is that it had some good kills. Some people.
Well, I know, no. Not to talk about 6. I thought you were talking about 6 when you were saying she was laying in the coffin. You're talking about 5.
5. Remember? All right. So let me paint the picture. And basically, 4 4 and 5 are basically kind of like the same movie, just part 1, part 2.
Yeah, it's like part 1, part 2. Yeah.
Yeah, so I feel like I can at least.
And then 6 just went off the rails with whatever. But
Well, you typically watch them both in order. Like that's what I always did. They'd always play them back to back. And,
Yeah.
But I don't know. Maybe we could get to that part later. But basically, there was a scene where, Michael and Jamie had a moment where, he wasn't trying to kill her, and he was actually kind of like, oh, like I don't know if you remember that scene, but look at it, look into it. In fact, I really am probably going to end up rewatching both movies. This Halloween. Right now, because I got the movie so in my brain anyway, I can just recall it, everything.
Yeah. How see my thing is like I've got the most memory with obviously Resurrection, H2O, the Rob Zombie Halloween, Halloween 4. Obviously, the one I've seen the most is the original. Me and my sister watched that countless number of fucking times. The ones I've seen the least, obviously 2, 6, and 5. And I've never seen Season of Witch. I probably will never watch Season of Witch. So,
it's a totally different movie. It's a good movie, but it's just not a Halloween movie.
It's not a Michael Myers movie. It's not a slasher. I'm a slasher guy. Yeah, I gotta remember that.
Exactly. Well, it was a mistake for them to call it Halloween 3. It really was.
Yeah.
Anyway,
fucking Aria Rod. But
exactly.
I want to get to one of the more iconic. When I touched on cinematography earlier, excuse me, I was talking about scenes like this. This to me, now I was watching this movie, right? And you know me, I'm stoned like 90% of the time. So I'm sitting here stoned shit. I'm like, wait a minute. I had to rewind it back. Does this remind you of something? Because this movie came out in '88.
Yeah.
Now, I might be onto something. I don't know what influenced a very famous, one of the most famous movies and one of the most famous death scenes in that movie that kind of elevated a character, even though we know that Rachel, who's played by Ellie Cornell, doesn't die in this part. Obviously, she comes back like 5 minutes later to help save the day. Actually, no, Rachel saves the day, actually, in this movie. But does this not look like a famous, iconic? And then you see Michael Myers in the back. He's walking, right? You see her. Oh, there's a threat. There's the guy. He's coming after me. Even though I have my loved one right here laying on the ground, unconscious. I don't know whether they're alive or dead. This is a Simba Mufasa Scar.
Oh, my God.
You didn't know I was going with that?
Oh, my God.
You didn't know where I was going with that? Does this not remind you of that? This is like, and I'm so shocked because I've seen this movie a million times, bro. I never thought of this. And I was watching this the other night. I was like, wait a minute. Let me rewind this back because I love the shot.
Yeah. It's an awesome shot right there.
That is crazy to me.
It's like oh my God. And then right there, literally, long live the king.
Yeah.
Oh my God. That is too accurate.
Just tell him to get up. It's like Mufasa, or not Mufasa. Dad, get up, Dad. Dad, get up. Why won't you fucking talk to me, Dad? And then here comes Scar in the back. Run away, Simba. Never return. And I mean, mind you, Michael Myers is uncle. Scar's uncle.
Oh my God. That's like so on point too. Lion King ripped it off 100%.
I shouldn't. You know what? I should clip that. And make it turn it into a video and have the question: did Lion King rip off Halloween 4?
Call David Akkad, whoever's got the rights, and tell him Disney owes y'all fucking check.
Yeah, fam. We need to get paid like yesterday.
That is crazy. I love that shit. And then and before, like, that scene right there is also one of those. It's one of those excellent, like, cinematography moments, in the movie too. Because if you notice throughout the series, there's always really high quality filmmaking. Like, they've never made a cheap Halloween movie. I mean,
Nope.
besides the original, but there was still good filmmaking going on. But there was always really talented people at the helm. I'd even go as far as say David Gordon Green and his crew are talented filmmakers. Yeah, just and there was still high quality film.
Yeah.
Like, this is a really AAA production going on, and I love that shot set up and just him creeping in the background, and that's classic Michael Myers because you're always watching the background for him in every movie.
Bro, there's so many great moments in this movie where I'm like, holy fuck, man. Like the Senate, like this shot right here, bro.
Yeah, that's the one I was hoping.
Bro, now, although you can tell that, well, I mean, come on. What the
Yeah.
fuck were they thinking with the mask and the hair? But that's a whole nother fucking, that's a whole nother rabbit hole. Because what the
Oh.
fuck did they do with the hair and the mask in this movie? A few times. But this shot right here, though, you cannot tell me that this shot, the standoff, what is this? The Mexican standoff, right? Between Donald Pleasance, not Donald Pleasance, Dr. Loomis and Michael Myers. I mean, iconic, bro. Fucking iconic.
Really,
When you think about this franchise, look at Dr. Loomis. He said, "You don't want none. You don't want none, bitch." The fuck, he got his hands out like, "Yo, hey fam, hey fam, you good?"
Michael, you little
Michael, you don't want these hands. You don't want these hands in it.
I met this 6-year-old child and I beat his ass. And it was just...
These hands will come across your face, bruv. No knife. Why did you bring a knife fight? Why did you bring a knife to a fist fight?
Why did you bring a knife to it? And he's packing heat too. Like, yes. Loomis has fucked Michael up before, so he ain't scared.
This is the face of a man that ain't scared of Michael Myers, bro. It's the only man in the entire franchise not scared to come face to face with Michael Myers for 1 second.
I mean, dude, do you realize how many times Loomis has just wrecked Michael? Really? I mean, it didn't work, but still, he's just...
The screen needs to go black and white, and then you just see a floating blunt just go right into the side of his mouth, and then you see the sunglasses.
Don't fuck with the doc.
Oh man! So, what were some of these other iconic moments of this movie, Jake, to you?
Honestly, if I don't know if we'll get in trouble, but I would actually like if you played the intro, just that opening sequence showing the fall weather and the title.
Oh yeah.
Just because that to me is the epitome of Halloween.
Oh yeah.
Like, the epitome.
The setting. It's not too bright. It's not too dark either. See, I'd never been to Illinois. This is what I thought Illinois looked like. This is what I thought was Illinois.
Same.
But this is crazy, man.
You just know something is evil is in the air. Just with this atmosphere.
Yep.
It gets you in the mood to celebrate Halloween.
The pumpkins, yeah. I mean, you see the pumpkins everywhere. It's got that creepy because you don't see any people in the intro either. That's what makes it even more creepy. It's like, where the fuck is everybody?
I think it might be one of the few Halloween movies that doesn't actually start with the classic theme.
Yep. And actually, I don't think this movie even started with an actual beginning before, because normally they have the movie start and then you do a little intro, right? Am I wrong?
Typically.
And then, because normally it'll be like even if it's like maybe a minute or a minute and a half of a fucking like something happens, right? The original Halloween, you had the mask, right? You were the cameraman was the mask, and you're
Yeah.
going up and you're watching Michael kill his sister, and then he killed a few other people, and then they take the mask off, and then that's when the intro starts, right? That's when the music, and then you see the pumpkin, and then all that other stuff starts. And I think Halloween 2, you get to the hospital, and then the intro starts, right?
Yeah, I think I think that is how that does, because well, no, I think the first one actually starts off with the pumpkin because you
With the
remember it's
pumpkin.
that slow zoom, and then
Yeah.
it sets the tone for the movie before it even begins, and then the scene with the following the POV of Michael
Okay.
up to his sister's room. But I think the second movie did start off with actually it was a recap that showed Loomis shooting him and then him disappearing and then them trying to find him, Laurie going to the hospital, and
Yeah.
and some other and the sheriff too being all like finding Annie, what happened to her. But then after that, it turned into. So I think in the fourth movie, I think is when we really saw the second movie is when we started like being a little more creative with where the theme begins, the intro begins, and that's even happened as recent as the last movie they did, where they'll show an introductory scene. Corey somehow accidentally murdering this freaking kid, just wrecking, just down the stairs. Credits, which by the way, I actually, oh god, I'm,
Jake, you had to remind me of that shit movie. You
I
had to
know.
remind me of that shit fucking movie.
It's such. Oh yeah, I apologize for even speaking of that movie in the same breath as the other classics. But to be fair, I do want to say that the 2018 David Gordon Green movie had an amazing intro with the asylum and and the Michael. So there was a good intro.
Oh,
So yeah, I'll say that.
you know what that was though? That was fucking bait. That's what that was. As
Yep.
time goes on, because you're not wrong. That was a good introduction to okay, we're saying this is 40 years later. 40 years or what 40, 45 years, whatever the fuck. But you're saying it's 4 years later? All right. This is Michael Myers 40 years later. The first 2 minutes of that Halloween 2018 movie, I'm invested as a motherfucker, bro. Invested as a motherfucker. When old dude and they never got back to him, bro. Don't even get me started. Don't even get me started on the
Yeah,
fucking thing. There's so many fucking potholes in that thing. It's not even funny. But when he pulls out the mask and you can feel like it's really weird between the music and what we're watching on like you can feel the energy between Michael and that mask, bro. And it's just like that's what I was like, yo, I'm in for a ride. And then for the next 2 hours, I was like, yo, you know what?
Where did that?
You already know I'm about to play. For the next 2 hours, I was like this.
Whoa! What the fuck?
And not in a good way. Not in a good way at all.
Oh man, I felt, and we talked about we was blue in the face last year because we was just so like because even then we were still hyped to see how Ends brought that full circle, and that's really what sucks because Ends actually made the other two previous movies worse. Like that actually made like that's how bad of a movie it was. It made it to where you don't even want to watch the other two more. Although I still do think there was lots of good stuff spread out. That intro scene, and it comes back again to like Halloween really has to have that badass introductory scene, and this is actually one of the eeriest, quietest openings to all of them, I think. Just because, Return of Michael Myers is enough. And then just the atmosphere of Halloween. It's that time of year.
And you don't know what you're expecting.
It's that, oh shit. I mean, you can imagine how disappointed everybody was with Season of the Witch, Halloween 3 not having Michael Myers.
Yeah.
And then this, so there's a reason why they called it the Return of Michael Myers. And it's telling everybody, hey, he's back. And that intro scene sets the pace perfectly. I remember the first time seeing it, it was just like, you just feel the evil waking back up. And that's literally what happens, in the hospital scene when there is in that ambulance. He wakes. It's like he's been asleep.
Yep. And when I was watching that the other night, I was like, man, like back in the day when I was watching this as a kid, it didn't really feel like this part was kind of like rushed a little bit. But I felt like that hospital scene was a little bit rushed. But at the same time, you don't want to really dwell into a scene with it not having too much meaning and too much depth. So I completely, I get it. But I'm like, dude, they wasted no time as soon as this movie fucking started. Like, they were like, yeah, Mike's gonna just break out of the fucking. See, I like the horror movies like this where we clearly know, like, all right, this clearly is not gonna be able to fucking happen in real life. So we already know that, like, it's a serial killer. It's a slasher movie. So they're gonna have some sort of what's the word to it? Like abnormal, maybe not abnormal, but inhuman type of, I guess powers. Jason, he's able to disappear. He's able to, run and all this other stuff and be completely fucking accurate, with the machete. Freddy, we talked about Freddy last week. He's with the whole psychological stuff. And you got Michael Myers who just like slicing niggas up, man.
Yeah.
Running around killing motherfuckers.
And it was in this movie, though, they really actually started to kind of explore the supernatural element. Like, they call it, like, from 4 to 6, they call it the Thorn trilogy because they are one narrative, and I think it was definitely the most, I guess, supernatural we ever saw Michael Myers, and he was definitely, I don't know, maybe the most dangerous. Maybe like just something about him was just so unstoppable in these movies.
Yep.
It just seemed like there was nothing anyone could do to to kill him. And shoot, should have lost my train of thought.
Well, why are you gaining it back? I just want to say it's another great shot. Now, if this didn't say Halloween 4, if I didn't have the title and shit up here, and I would just show you this picture, my first stop probably would have been like a Friday 13th movie because this looks like straight up out of like an Elm Street type of feel. Wind blowing, leaves on the ground, girl in the middle of the street. It's nighttime. She's surrounded by houses. I'm thinking, okay, probably an Elm Street movie.
Yeah, definitely.
So look, I like this shot. When I was watching it, I was like, yo, I definitely got to catch this one. But let's talk about the kill count because remember last week when we talked about the kill count of Smile and it wasn't that high? If you think about this movie, the kill count in this movie is not too high either. But it still made, I feel like it was it a perfect amount? I don't know. I don't know if there's a certain amount is good. I mean, it depends on the movie and the narrative and everything else and the character. How far is the character in as being a serial killer? Are they just starting to be a serial killer? Because them having a high count wouldn't make any fucking sense. But we're talking about Halloween 4, Michael Myers. He's a pretty seasoned vet into this whole serial killer career field that he's in, right?
Yeah.
Kill count's not that high. I mean, he kills the guy at the gas station. He killed the 2 people in the ambulance. He killed old dude that was cheating on Rachel, right?
Yeah.
Rachel almost dies like 2 times in this movie. Or at least you think she's dead 2 times in this fucking movie. They killed the girlfriend too, right?
Stabbed her with a gun.
Yeah, that was a weird kill. Do you want to talk about that one for a second? That was a weird kill. Let me see if I can find that one.
Yeah. I'd love to see this man.
That was weird as shit.
Never, because you never would think that like, oh, he's finally gonna use a gun. Michael's
Yeah.
getting practical.
And I'm glad they didn't do that.
It's just the complete opposite of what you'd imagine.
There we go. Is this it?
Sheriff Overton had
Like sitting on
I
a
gotta
rock.
say, I don't know what version of this movie you watched, bro, but old girl had it, bro.
Yeah, this is the
Oh, go ahead.
uncensored for not
That,
not for TV version. Yeah.
Yeah. The cops do it by the book. She does it by the dick, bro.
Oh, I bet it's
04
so
out there.
awkward.
Trying to see if I can find the kill though. It all happened so fast too, because it was like her, then the boyfriend. No, it was the cop, then her, right? And then the boyfriend.
This
We
is
should
it.
fix the power. At least we'd have some MTV while we wait for the cavalry.
Badass. Are you gonna shoot?
See, it's this shot right here where you're like, Michael, are you about to shoot a gun?
Does he even know how to use a gun? He's like,
True.
I don't even know how to shoot this thing.
True.
Just
Wait. Actually, wait. Didn't Michael shoot at Oh, we'll get with that after this.
unreal.
Now, I'm surprised he didn't do the head tilt thing, or was that later in the franchise? Did he not do that in the first movie?
No, he did it. He did it a lot in the first one. Like he always did the head tilt. You know,
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know why he didn't do that in this one, because that would have been a perfect. That would have been the absolute perfect opportunity to do that.
Yeah. I don't remember when he did it in this movie either. He seemed a little more stoic.
I will say it doesn't make sense. I mean, can anybody make sense of this kill that we just saw though? I mean, where did the shotgun sit for her to just be chilling in the air? Like, come on, man. I know it was the '80s, but I mean, it still had logic in the '80s, bro. Like,
Gravity has to be respected. I mean, you literally saw the whole back end of that it penetrated, like fall apart. What was keeping her pinned up? You know, it is just I don't know. Just creative but silly.
would you say that? No, I can't make that joke. I'll say this: she was penetrated twice in one night. I forgot we're on YouTube. I can't read this.
Double P. And that was a double barrel, I believe.
So I want to ask you this though: didn't Michael shoot at Dr. Loomis earlier at the gas station, or no?
I don't think so. I don't think he had a gun. He tried to run him over. He got in the car.
Oh, I think okay. So Loomis was shooting at him, right?
Yeah, Loomis started shooting, and then Michael had gotten away from him, and then he got in the truck, and then Michael somehow that whole gas station blew up. Yeah.
Why now?
Hey, just to let y'all know, if we get kicked off of YouTube for this, at least we'll be on Rumble. Like, this is on YouTube and Rumble. So in case the stream goes down on YouTube, we're still on Rumble. Okay?
Yes.
So
Yes.
You waited 10 years. I knew this day would come. Don't go to Haddonfield. If you want another victim, take me. But leave those people in peace. Please. Michael. God damn you.
Wow. Now, we could also say that Donald Pleasance is the king of monologues when it comes to the Halloween franchise as well. I mean, you look at Halloween, the first Halloween movie, big ass monologue. Halloween 2, monologue. Halloween 4, he had about two or three monologues in this movie. Halloween 5, he had a monologue. I mean, without Donald Pleasance, is there a Halloween franchise at this point?
I don't really feel like he's vital to just the identity. You always have to have that sort of that voice. And I think even in the remakes, not saying that Malcolm McDowell was bad or anything, but it just wasn't. It wasn't the same. I mean, I don't really think it could.
Oh yeah, totally.
It's just not the same. And
Yeah,
although
it definitely wasn't the same with Malcolm McDowell. I got it, but he was his own. A lot of people, including myself, wanted to compare him to Donald Pleasance, and you just can't do that, man. Like it's there was so much time in between when Malcolm McDowell did it and Don. I mean, you had a good almost 15 years or so between the time that they were portrayed Dr. Loomis. You mentioned Malcolm McDowell, and I'm like, oh man, I don't really want to compare him, but gotta kind of compare him a little bit. But yeah, I mean, when it comes to the Halloween franchise, especially when it comes to 4, you gotta look at Dr. Loomis and Jamie Lloyd are the two faces. I mean, and you could probably make a case for Rachel as well, because Rachel, I mean, she was that character that if you're watching this movie blind, you're watching it for the first time, you're absolutely expecting Rachel to die. Now, granted, they went ahead and killed her in the 5th one, which I thought was I don't know if that was a great idea to do that, to be honest. If you kept her alive for the 5th one, if you kept her alive for the 2nd one, at least kill her in 6, but I mean, who knows. But before we get on to our next topic with this, or our last discussion with this, I got to say there's 9 people on Rumble watching right now. Hit that like, man. I ain't even saying hit that follow. Hit the follow if you want to hit the follow, but hit that like, man. We got to have more people in here watching us, man. We over here spitting that fire as we always do when it comes to these horror movies, man. But Jake, what is the? I got to ask you, what's your favorite kill of the entire movie?
my favorite kill. That's a tough one. I definitely, I don't know. I'm kind of racking my brain now because the way he just kind of crushed the kid too. That one, heck, the way he, the shotgun. It's hard. It's hard to just glance over the shotgun. I tell you what, one that I actually was thinking a lot about is when right when Michael woke up, like he's in the hospital bed, and he just grabs that guy by the face, starts smashing him, and then you just see that thumb just literally go into his freaking skull. And I remember like that always was so brutal to me. Like, oh god, it's just like he doesn't even need a knife.
Relatives?
Yeah, a niece living in his hometown.
There goes that fist we were talking about, where something triggered him. Something triggered him, and he just said,
And she's too young to be his legal ward.
So the state owns him?
"Oh, that's when he was hearing about the niece."
No, I still don't understand.
Yeah, and that woke him up.
By the way, you have one of the most notorious. It is his movie logic, but you have one of the most notorious serial killers of all time. You really think you're going to stick 2 people, only 2 people in there, and you're not even going to handcuff them? Like that's That's wild, man.
A guy who's killed a lot of people. I guess they figured that the burns would pretty much make him unable to really do much, maybe. I mean, I guess. But I mean, the guy got shot a lot. The guy got burned, like blown up. I mean, some precautions should have been taken there. You can't. I mean, I know I would. In fact, I probably wouldn't work that job. I'm not. I'm not getting in the car with that with a guy who does that, who survives being set on fire and being shot multiple times, and has a
Facts.
pretty racking up kill count. Since he was 6. He's been at it for a while.
Facts. My favorite kill, man. Hey, oh boy. He's like, I got you, Rachel. I'll protect you.
Jamie.
Rachel.
You know, it would have been a perfect. So when I watched this the other night, because I forgot which. So you remember that picture, right, Jake? And at the beginning of the movie, well, towards the beginning of the movie, right, first act of the movie, where they're in that store and she's looking in the mirror and Michael Myers is behind her. So when she walks outside of the out the door, I'm thinking that Michael Myers is gonna walk out with her behind her. And I was like, bruh, that would have been that was a layup right there, bro.
Yeah.
That was a layup. But they had him come the other way to ice old dude.
No.
I like how he's going slow, like he's like just not even remotely threatened.
I don't like this Michael Myers, where he turns like that, and then like again, I hate to be so like super fucking, you know what I mean, like detailed and but bruh, just even the way he turns is not. That's probably my only nitpick of Halloween 4. Or I guess my biggest nitpick is that like you have to stick with a definitive Michael Myers for this movie. You can't keep switching like the way he moves. You can't keep leaving out the head tilts. You can't keep switching the hair color. And I don't care if it's different, you know, the shade or whatever. Like, dude has black hair. Like, can we keep it at black hair, please?
And I agree. It seemed like the guy they got in the mask doesn't really look as good as the original.
No.
I think the guy they got playing him too is a little too bulky, you know. Like Michael,
too top heavy, man.
Yeah, he's got these big, broad shoulders, and you can tell he's having to turn his whole body. Michael wouldn't do that. He'd turn his head slowly, you know, and then just how he does. So the body language is really what's missing here, and it's a good nitpick, and it's reasonable because they tried to fix that in the 5th movie. Clearly, they tried to fix that and improve.
Fuck, man, I gotta go back and watch that. It's been years since I watched Halloween 5, but you do get to see Rachel naked in Halloween 5.
Yeah.
Get up there, Rachel!
So Myers is like he doesn't care. He's just like thinking about his shopping list. I'll leave the stove on. He's like, hey, dude, do you need an extra second to get that gun loaded? Because
and he still can't get it loaded.
All right, I'm like, you had enough time, kid. You can't get it loaded. You really had 20 seconds, probably. Oh.
See, I like that though, man. I like. Ooh, I didn't mean to pause it right there, but I like it where Michael he grabs the gun one-handed, takes the other one, and then just overpowers the dude, man, and then just fucks him up.
Yeah,
Said, I don't need no gun.
Yeah.
I don't need no shotty, man.
Before you hurt yourself.
crazy, man. That's my favorite death of that movie. And I want to say, because at least on the the old the old head movies, scary horror movies that I would watch from back in the day, even the ones that I still watch from back in the day, you didn't really see too many. Now you saw a lot of deaths like that, like gory deaths and like really twisted, weird deaths in the 80s, late 70s, 80s, early 90s in these horror movies. But you still didn't see too much of that, like in the slasher joints. That's what I'm saying, man. Like Michael Myers was, yeah, I mean, in terms of slash movies, maybe Jason's up there in terms of like the way he would kill him. I mean, dude ran around with a machete. He killed people all kinds of ways as well. But man, it's just the Halloween movies, man. They make it hit so different, bro. They make it hit so different.
More grounded. It feels more brutal for some reason. Like I said, well, I still attest that these movies were a little more grounded in like realism. Like they never jumped the shark. Really, that's the thing about I think it really sets Halloween apart from the other popular slasher genres. Jason jumped the shark. You know what I mean? Nothing wrong with that. That's what they wanted to do. Jason, just people wanted to go see Jason fuck shit up. But Michael was always serious. It was always every movie was always besides a few I could think of like Resurrection and the majority of David Gordon Green's efforts. These movies were treated very serious with a very serious tone, a very dark storyline. So it had to be kind of grounded in some kind of realism, which I think that made sure that the kills were never too silly, never too over the top. Like you never see Michael just rip a guy's head off Mortal Kombat style.
Yeah.
It always feels a little more like how you would probably kill somebody. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah, like it'll be more of like it'd be tough to kill somebody that kind of way. Like it'd be very tough to kill somebody by just grabbing their face, and with the strength of basically your hand and your wrist, and maybe your forearm, taking your thumb, driving it through their fucking skull. Like,
yeah.
I don't know about you, but I don't think I'd ever be that strong to do that. So
No.
like,
Well, but that's like I guess the craziest, or really I think the silliest kill maybe in the whole franchise probably was the shotgun. I can't think of one more silly. Just like all right. But other than that, you have moments like these that were not like it wasn't played up for like our sick amusement. You're supposed to actually feel bad for these people while they're just getting fucking wrecked. I mean,
yeah,
you know what I mean? Like you don't want to be a victim of Michael.
yeah,
They're not quick deaths.
exactly. Now, as we're winding down here, man, I gotta ask you, man, what's your favorite part of this movie?
My favorite scene in this movie, man, that is a tough one because there are some really fantastic scenes. The movie itself is fantastic. It's just a third. I mean, we can definitely have some nitpicks here and there, but other than that, it's just a well done movie. And just I'm not asking it to be perfect like the original one. I like Halloween 4 because it is its own Halloween movie. You know what I mean? It's not trying to be like the original, like every fucking movie that came after it. It was trying to be its own Halloween Michael Myers type of movie. That's what I always admired the most about it. And honestly, the scene that I think about the most, I think I feel the most nostalgia over, is probably the first scene where Jamie, you meet Jamie, and she's like praying. She's having a dream, of course, but then she sees Michael just kind of, rise up and look at her. And then that always, ever since I was a kid, that always stuck with me. That's like I'd have dreams about that. You know what I mean? To me, that's what it felt like to be a kid. watching Michael Myers. You're always scared. Well, what if he's on the convention? You know?
Yep. And and I want to go back on my saying I said earlier. The cat's beginning of the cast where I said that it's not scary enough for you to have nightmares, but it's scary enough for you to say, "Yo, that was a good ass fucking jump scare. That's a good ass scary movie that kind of had me little goosebumps." And obviously talking about when you first see the movie, watching it blind, but.
Yeah.
I want to go back on that statement because I remember as a kid, I actually did have nightmares after watching this movie because of that scene. And because of what I deem to be at least part of my favorite scene of this movie, which is the ending. This where they're in the school. This right here, tell me that wasn't this whole entire scene right here, this school scene.
Yeah.
Going Dr. Loomis through the door. You think he's going?
The color hair,
Where's
the
she
Easter
gonna
egg.
Where's she gonna go?
Where's she gonna go? She's in trouble.
And then you get to this iconic scene right here, bro. You cannot tell me these aren't iconic shots right here, bro. She looks up, looks back. That is iconic, man. That is iconic. You know what I want to do? I want to get like a blown up joint between her, this picture right here, the one where she's like on the ground, the whole Simba thing. You got Michael in the background. That's probably my favorite shot of the whole movie. You got this one, that one, and then the one where she's in the mirror with Michael Myers behind her. I think those are my 3 favorite shots of the whole movie.
Yeah.
And you gotta
Really
think about it. We talked about the one where it was Michael standing in that aisleway when we had that Mexican standoff with Dr. Loomis.
Yeah.
We talk about that one too. This one is wild, bro.
Again, Daniel Harris.
Where he is. He's like, yo, I need to make a run for the door.
Ouchies.
And then the infamous trip. But I got to say, man, the ending of this movie, I thought was great, though.
It might be,
where they just, they get in a car crash. Rachel, she pulls off the best Laurie Strode, mom that she can. Because remember, Laurie Strode with the whole baby, she was like in sort of like a big sister S type of role, like a hero role. Rachel took on that role in Halloween 4, to be honest. Because remember, when that whole infamous, and me and my sister, we talked about this when we were kids, like, because we paid attention to every fucking line in all the movies, but where Laurie in the first one, she's telling Tommy and Lindsay, she's like, do as I say. You have to think, man. They did that shit on purpose in Halloween 4, where Rachel's telling Jamie, do as I say. I don't think that was just some common. I mean, maybe you know more, Jake, but I don't think that was some common, thing in the 80s. Just some common saying in the 80s, just saying "do as I say." I don't know.
Do as I say was an immediate reference, I believe, because I don't know. Like you said, I think there's little ties like that, that mirror, just that mirror each other, and because again, it's a teenager by all means, just trying to protect a younger sibling,
Mm-hmm.
And again, like that's, and I think that's honestly what I miss more in the sequels. And sequels too is that they don't really like try to make cross references and tie in, not like homage or kissing ass, but like make this relevant to what came before. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Make us think, oh, that connects. You know what I mean? I make this connection, and that is a cool one. And you mentioned the ending. I might have to change my mind about my favorite scene, because as much as I love the first scene, this may be an even bet, because you know how amazing the ending to the first movie was first, you can imagine audiences freaking the fuck out when they seen how that one ended. He just took like
Mhm.
6 slugs to the chest. He's not
Yep.
there. What the fuck?
Yep.
This is the only ending I think I could say maybe is even better. Because again, it just is good, if not better, because it again leaves you with just a mind fuck. What the hell just happened?
You're like, they got him. They shot him dead.
They got him.
Put it in a band.
We got him. We fucking got him.
Fucking got him.
Fucking got him.
Holy shit.
Then, of course, did you? I mean,
Huh?
that's the thing.
Oh, yeah,
Did
yeah.
you get him though? Because that's the one thing. This is why ends can go screw itself some more because, you can't kill the boogeyman. And more than anything, and actually, if you don't mind, I'd actually like for you to play that scene real quick. Play the
Which
ending
one?
for me. The ending. You know, the one where,
This one? Or the
that's
this one?
it. That's the one.
I gotta rewind back a little bit.
Rewind a little bit.
Rachel lived.
Rachel.
In case y'all didn't know, Rachel's probably like my favorite. Jamie's my favorite character, but of this movie, but Rachel's, I don't know, it's kind of top between Rachel and Jamie. I mean, it's probably one of the only movies, the only horror movies where I'll say the main character is probably my favorite character.
Rachel was a hero of the movie for sure. She was a total hero of this.
Yep. And I wish they would have kept her in like the Laurie Strode-esque type of role. Again, Halloween 5's just shit to bed, but we'll talk about that later.
Yep.
But
check this out.
A little of an homage to one, right?
A perfect homage.
And then all of a sudden,
what the hell?
I love how the dad's not even the first one up the steps. Yeah, and then he goes to shoot her, and then dude, that's crazy, man. That's
oh my
fucking.
God.
Every
Loomis
time I watch that, I'm just like, dang, what was Dr. Loomis really about to shoot her though?
He was literally like,
Because he knows how bad Michael Myers was. But I'm telling you, there were some really big possibilities with this franchise, bro. And then it just every bad decision you can make with this franchise, they fucking made it after 4.
They did. They really did. I mean, season 3 was a bad choice, but season
Actually, I can't say every choice because H2O is. I know a lot of people don't like H2O. I know H2O is an afterthought to a lot of people. It's up there for me. It's up there for me.
It was again just. It's up there for me too because that's the thing. Like you really put your finger on it. It seems like they've been trying to like repair the franchise's like storyline because there's no coherent single narrative because it keeps kind of rebooting itself, restarting. These movies didn't happen. This timeline didn't happen, and I agree. It's almost like it really is that kind of situation too here because 4. This is why we like 4 so much. It's because it feels like it's a complete movie. You don't have to really technically watch 5 and 6 because think about what this note leaves you on. What if Michael really is dead? What if they actually did kill him off like that? It doesn't matter because the shape will live on because Jamie, and then Loomis. Oh my God, just that might be the best. That's one of the best moments of the character is him just freaking out, like he was about to pull a gun, like he is so freaking out so bad, like no, like the evil will never die.
So he wanted to go ahead and kill it before it fucking became a monster.
Like he was so fucking horrified. It just, just like, what a, and then it ends right there. The movie ends. It is a perfect horror movie ending. It is as good, if not better, as the first movie's ending. And like you said, the possibilities were fucking endless. What the hell else could have happened now?
Yep.
This little girl, is she the next one, Michael Myers? What? Just I don't know. And then 5 kind of took away a lot of the possibilities, but it still doesn't hurt the legacy of 4, in my opinion.
From beginning to end, this movie was entertaining as fuck. Every time I watch it, and I feel like a kid again every time I watch this movie. I'm just like sitting there, just happy that I'm able to sit here and watch Halloween 4 again. It's another October. So I'm gonna go ahead and give my grade right here, right now. You already know your boy's gonna give it an A+, just because look, it's strictly biased. Okay, I gotta be honest. This grading is strictly fucking biased because I got a lot of nostalgia, a lot of memories with this movie. I've seen it a million fucking times, and every time I watch it, man, I get a kick out of it. I love it. There's even still some parts that I still jump at. I'm just like, oh shit, Michael came out of nowhere. Like, I love this movie, man. I fucking love this movie. Now, I have to ask you, though, before I ask you your grade, I have to ask you, because you did say it's a perfect ending. Would you say that this movie, yes, Halloween 2 is out there, but is this movie the perfect sequel to the original? Because I was going to ask you, is it the perfect horror movie? But that really wouldn't really make any sense, because it would have to be like your favorite. You know what I'm saying? You'd have to. But is this the perfect sequel to the original Halloween?
I'd say it, which I guess if you're doing just a direct sequel, and actually to be fair, it was a sequel to Halloween 2 because the burn is referenced. So canonically, yeah, as a continuation though, I think it is. I think it is a very good movie. I don't know if I'd say perfect though. I don't think. I still think there's just like, it still feels like it's a little too different. The tone, the atmosphere.
That makes sense. Yeah.
It feels just a little too unique. Not bad, but it doesn't feel like it's the same. Like, one thing I like about Halloween 2 is that it really does feel like it is like a direct like continuation. Like, it looks like the original movie. I mean, the Michael Myers immediately looks just the same mask and everything, and I guess of course time is going to pass, and there's not really a whole lot of ways you can recreate what came before. Storyline wise, yeah, I'd say it was a great sequel. Perfect in a way, perfectly flawed, maybe.
Yeah. Ooh, that's actually a good one. That's actually a better one. Perfectly flawed. Again, to me, I'm looking at this as complete biased. Saw it as a kid. First Halloween movie I saw, Resurrection. Then H2O. Then it was this one. Then actually no. Then it was original. Then it was this one. Then it was 2, and then so on and so on. Where do you rank the Halloween franchise in all of horror? Is this one of those? Is this one of those franchises where it's? I wouldn't necessarily say it's an afterthought, but is it one of those franchises where you're like, there's better, but there's also worse? Oh, you're muted, bro. You're muted. You're muted. You're muted. I don't know how you're muted, but you're muted somewhere. Yeah, you're not muted on not on streamer. I don't know how you're muted though. All right, say something.
Hello.
Yep, I can hear you now.
Okay, I might be having a mic.
I hear you.
But anyways, well, it's not the most consistent franchise. I definitely think it's easily one of the three most high profile horror franchises. I mean,
Okay.
ones that will never go away. Just is a constant moneymaker, and is usually you can count on it being. Even the newer movies were worth watching always. I mean, there's still plenty of good things um, to find. Debatable, it's debatable, but I'd say as a whole, the franchise is a top three of all time franchise. It's probably my favorite horror franchise of all time. If you ask me what my favorite one was, it'd be Halloween. And and I think really the only real problem I could say that the franchise had is just consistency. They don't really have there's not one solid narrative through the whole thing. They keep sort of getting to this point, stopping, reboot, getting to this point, stopping, go back, erase what was done, reboot, and then that happens. Like I think they've rebooted the franchise about 3 times in total, and it's just kind of a mess. It's all over the place. But then again, there's also to a certain degree that's I think one of the things I like about it is that just you could how many ways can you tell the story of Michael Myers? How many different
Yeah.
I mean, Rob Zombie proved that. He proved there's another angle you can come at with this story that's interesting. And I definitely think, and I still think there's plenty of more. Like, I don't want the franchise to go away. I mean, I'm just saying. I mean, I definitely don't think it ever will. Man, but it just if it can make money, it's going to exist one way or the other. But yeah, long story short, I think Halloween is a top three franchise of all time, and my favorite personally.
My top three. Just a caveat off of that. My top three would be obviously Halloween number one. Number two would be the Chucky franchise, which is why I got so pissed why the show was. And then number three would definitely be Texas Chainsaw. Actually, would I say Texas Chainsaw Massacre franchise or would I go with Saw? I think I'm gonna go Saw and then Texas Chainsaw Massacre. So those are my top four.
Yeah.
Everybody else goes after that. But as we're getting out of here, man, I want to ask you, what's your grade on this on Halloween 4?
Halloween 4, if the original Halloween is an A plus, I'd probably give Halloween 4 an A. Just because I think that's like just a movie that and I know you and me have a different take on the grading system. Like, it might, just I think you're a little more, conservative with it. I feel like I'm grading it based on my emotions that I get from the movie. And definitely this is a movie that is second only to the original, as far as like what it means to me. Yeah. And I do think, again, I'm biased too. It's a high quality movie, but it's also one that's, I'm grading on my own experience. I love this movie. It's an A for sure.
That's why I say that this movie is horror movie 101. It's horror 101. Everything you want in a horror movie, or everything you are supposed to have in it to make a good horror movie, is in this movie.
Yes.
You got the aesthetics, you got the whole environment, you got the story, the plot. Like, because this could very well still be a standalone movie. I get that the plot kind of goes, I wouldn't say kind of, the plot does involve the prior movies because it is a sequel, but it could still be a standalone. Like, if they came out with this movie 20 years later and made it a standalone movie and say this is a Michael Myers movie, and then you reference what happened, I mean, again, you get into the whole sequel, definition and all that other stuff. But at the end of the day, I'm sticking with the A+, man.
A+
Everything you want
is
in a horror movie, everything you need in a horror movie is in this movie. You can't say the same thing about Saw. You can't say the
that's
same
true.
thing about Friday the 13th Part 5. You can't say the same thing about Hellraiser 3 or Candyman. You could probably say no. You couldn't say the same thing about Candyman either. So, I mean, at the end of the day, Halloween 4: Return of Michael Myers is the movie you need to watch if you want to see.
Yeah.
Let me dive more into this whole horror genre and see what this whole horror genre is about. Halloween 4 should be on everybody's top 5. I'll say that.
Yeah.
You can say Exorcist, you can say A Nightmare on Elm Street and Hellraiser, and you can say, I don't know, fucking Chopping Mall. It don't matter.
Yeah.
Halloween 4 needs to be in the top 5.
It's a movie that is done
Because
thoroughly well.
The first Halloween has the horror elements. Don't get me wrong. But, Jake, you might disagree with me on this one, but the first Halloween to me does move a little bit slow.
It's a slower movie for sure.
It's a little bit of a slower burn with that movie. Halloween 4, it cuts right to the chase. Like I said, from beginning of the movie to the end of the movie, you can't say that you're not entertained. You can't say that it's not giving you horror elements, that you're not at the edge of your seat scared at almost every fucking scene.
Yeah.
Because it's got it. It's got
it. It does. It's almost, well, you could tell that they had to make, and the pacing really is one of the best parts of this movie. It flies by.
Mm-hmm.
You don't feel like you watch an hour and a half, and I think that's one of the biggest strengths going for it. Where I think, and don't get me wrong, it's not a knock against the original one either, but it's like you said, it's a slow burn kind of thing and wants to build up. Well, in Halloween 4, we already know what the threat is. There ain't no need to build it up. It's taking place right after, everything, and we're just ready to get into it. And you know what? They don't waste no time. We're gonna, and that's one of the best strengths it has. And I feel like you don't need to do all the monologuing anymore. After we done treat the audience like they've been here for a while, they know what we're dealing with. Let's just escalate it.
You can Star Wars this shit too, man. You can just put a fucking scroll at the beginning for like 30 seconds and say, hey, yo, this is Michael Myers is a mystical fucking, whatever the fuck. But yeah, man, look, I fucking love this movie. One of the greatest movies to me ever, not just horror, just movies ever.
Every horror fan should watch it, and every would-be filmmaker should take notes because there's a lot to learn from this movie. It is like you said, horror 101, because everything it does, you might not say it's the best that's ever been done, but you could but everything it does very well.
Yes. I mean, from the music, that from the times that they played the music about this movie, like what Jake pointed out in the intro with the fall time, just let you know, hey, this is what fall time in Haddonfield, Illinois is. Is Haddonfield really a real town?
I think it is, but I don't think it's in Illinois.
Okay, I was about to say, because if that's a real town, I feel bad for people that live there, man. Like, on a daily, bro, they must get shit. But, I mean, look, if that's what Illinois really looks like in the fall time, shit, count me in. That's beautiful, bro. The wind breezing. I'm homesick, bro. I miss Virginia so bad. But anyways, man, dude, and next time we get on here, man, what are we doing? We're doing what? Shining, right?
Yes, for sure.
So next time you get on here, y'all, You better hold on to your butts, hold on to your buckets, hold on to your seatbelts, hold on to everything, man, because we are going to be not reviewing, but we are going to be discussing one of the most infamous horror movies of all time. Hell, one of the most infamous movies of all time.
Yeah.
And a movie that I have not seen the real version of. I've only seen the TV version of.
Mhm.
The Shining. So make sure you guys
Can't
stay
wait.
tuned for that, man. Over here on Rumble, who we got left? We still got a few people out there watching on Rumble. If you guys are watching on YouTube or watching later on YouTube, make sure you guys hit that like and subscribe. If this stream even stays up on YouTube, who knows? It might get copyrighted, taken down. I don't really care at this point because we got Rumble, so we're good. But make sure you guys hit that like, that follow, hit the like and subscribe on YouTube, all that good stuff. Everything goes a long way. Jake, where can people find you, man?
Again, I'm still on Twitter and my YouTube channel. It's still growing. Like I think I gained a few more subscribers. I'm at 264. We're doing good. 264, motherfucker. And we're still moving and on up. I'm trying to get more prolific about the content. So, but yeah. But nah, like Anna Ken, you'll find me here on the next episode of the half-assed film panel. We finally got this show running
Oh,
again.
dude, I forgot to even put up the fucking look. I'm such a terrible fucking. Oh my gosh, dude! I've been YouTubing for a year, for what, 5 years, 4 years, 5 years, something like that, and I
Yeah.
still haven't even can't
Right.
even find a damn thing.
Yeah.
There we go.
Yeah.
The old film
Episode of
panel.
Bevels. Before
Oh,
made it to the end. Edit, put it in there and post. Yeah. Fix it in post.
But yeah, man. Hey, Jake, as always, man. Thank you for coming through.
It's my pleasure.
Hey, we enjoy doing these things for y'all. We enjoy doing it just even for us, man. Just getting on here, just talking about the movies, just having y'all here, in the chat, subscribing, watching us, man. That's just a plus. That's just the icing on the cake, to be honest. But anyways, man, look, we will get up on out of here. We will see you guys next time. It's your boy, brother Jake. It's your boy Corn. It's the Hat Film Panel. We just got done reviewing Halloween 4. We are OU.